Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our session titled Thrive, Not Just Survive. My name is Samir Mohammed, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator today. Our discussion will focus on the importance of good leadership and strong teams in moving an organization forward. We will explore key measures such as providing leadership training, building good teams, and attracting and retaining volunteers. It is also crucial to monitor, assess, and strengthen your organization's program and services while keeping them mission-centric and avoiding mission creep. These strategies are essential for any organization that aims to thrive, not just survive. So I'm delighted to introduce our esteemed panelists who bring a wealth of experience in the organizational leadership and development. In the order, Paulo Copio is the founder of CEO and Big Experience LDA, a leading training and consulting company with a passion for developing more collaborative environments in the business world. With his extensive experience and expertise, Paulo has been a catalyst for significant transformation in the organizations, helping to create more inspiring and productive work environments. Please join me in welcoming Paulo. Our second panelist is Erika Martino. She is a European social entrepreneur specializing in personal growth, education, and family dynamics. She holds a master's degree in language, literature, and culture, and has lived between Italy and California. Currently, she resides in Ireland with her family. In 2012, Erika and her husband founded the Italian Home Education Network, a pioneering organization that has significantly advanced homeschooling in Italy. Please join me in welcoming Erika. Thank you. And last but not the least, our third panelist, Robert Bortins. He earned a BS degree in industrial engineering from Clemson University in 2006. Did I butcher that?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a fan.
In 2011, he returned to the family business, Classical Conversations, to develop a marketing program. In the years since Robert Bortins became CEO of Classical Conversation, the company has grown by 300% and become the world's largest classical homeschooling organization. He has host of a successful podcast called Refining Rhetoric. Robert is a member of the board of directors of Gutenberg College and the Classical Learning Test and NAV 7's Rugby. Classical Conversations has been named a certified best Christian workplace for BCW for 5 years in a row. So a big round of applause for Robert. So thank you all for being here. Let's get started. To kick off, Paulo, could you share your insight on the importance of providing leadership training within an organization? You have the clicker.
So thank you for your presence here. And my goal is not to speak about homeschooling, but leadership. Okay, you can listen well.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So my goal is this one. It's to talk about leadership, not homeschooling, and to try to see what's happening on leadership and how can we use it in our life. So the first thing that I want is to pass you a video. We'll see.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. Three is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come two more people, then three more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
So the first challenge that I want to, sorry, the first challenge that I want to give you is to think in a person that you consider a leader, and think in 10 features or characteristics that leader has, and go to your phone and write that 10 features. Okay, just that. Okay, and 1 minute to write it and do it, and think about the movie too. The leader, what is the characteristics of the leader, of that leader, and after that, tell me, are you a leader or not? You can answer. Leader, yes, no. I'm asking the question, are you a leader? Yeah, if you can put your hand, yeah, okay. So, some days. So the other question is, why you consider a leader or not? It's not to answer, but to think about that. And the other one, it's, are we born leaders or not? What do you think about this? Okay? And if you think about this question, and the first one, the first challenge that I send you, something is related. Okay, so we have this, and what we know is that a leader, it's someone that try to do something. It's someone that encourage himself and others to change and transform. But for doing that, he needs other two things: to believe in things, believe in himself and in the others, to believe that it's possible to do something different, and to have values that people recognize them, and like honesty, for example. But nothing this is important if he doesn't have a path, so he needs a purpose. And the purpose, as we saw in the film, must be something simple. Each of us must have a purpose to do something. So if you don't have the purpose, probably you will fail. Because you have to understand your purpose and to communicate your purpose. So the question is, what is your purpose? As mother and leader and as homeschooler, what is your purpose? After defining that, it's easier to go to the path. Okay, if you have your purpose, we have some models of leadership. One of them it's a service leadership concept. And the service leadership concept says that a leader must listen and be open to others, must be committed with the growing of people, must persuade people and be empathy. And instead of controlling, he must be doing coaching to people. It's why he gets the people growing. So it's a little bit different of a leadership that we know on the companies, but it's possible to do this in a company. So you have your little companies or big companies, you can do this. And what we know that it's if we born a leader or we create leaders, what we know it's a leader has two things: a skill that we can train and repeat, and is a process of influence. So, thank you. So if it's a process of influence, it's a process that we motivate someone to do something. And the purpose, it's here. Because if the purpose is a clear purpose, we can motivate ourselves and the others. I believe in that, okay? So, if it's a skill, we can have models of training, to train skills to have a better leadership. And we have a model. It's probably all the people know this model, or almost all the people. It's a situation leadership model. That one guy that I think is dead, but important one, Blanchard, make it like this, transform this model in a way that it's easy to put in practice. This book, it's a book from 2002, leading in a higher level, at a higher level. He speaks about the the model of leadership, and he says that we have 4 leadership styles that are that we can a leader can have 2 different behaviors: a support behavior to people, and a direct behavior. It's to the task, okay, how to do a task. So with these 2 kinds of behaviors, we can have 4 leadership styles, and we can adapt the style in the moment to the person that we have in front of us. But the question is, how can I choose the right style for the person that I have in front of me? And he says that we have to see the maturity of the person that we have inside of me. And to do a task, we need 2 things: competence to know how to do it, and commitment, motivation to do it. And we can see this in our children, for example. When they don't want to do something, sometimes it's because they don't want, because they are not motivated, and sometimes they want it, but they don't know how to do it. So when I put these levels of maturity of a person to do a task, and the levels of styles of leadership, we can put together and decide what is the best style to do in that moment with that task. And that's what happened with the video. The video, all the people know how to dance. Okay, so the skill is there, but what people didn't want, it's to show themselves that they can do a figure or something that it's not used to. But when they began to be involved, something happened. And so what happened, they go to low competence and low commitment, but the commitment is there, but low competence and low commitment to the high competence to high commitment in 2 minutes. And that's what we have to do with people around us. It's easy? No. It's possible? Yes. So once more, if I believe in my purpose, probably it will be more easier to involve others and to involve myself. And for that, I have to believe that I deserve that purpose, and I deserve to share that purpose with others. When that happens, we have the success. Thank you for your attention, and be happy.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you. So leadership training is indeed a cornerstone of organizational success. Thank you, Paulo, for your wisdom. Erika, you've led strong teams in your career. Can you share some strategies on how? Sure. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute honor to be here with you this morning. My name is Erika Martino, and as a mother of 5 and a passionate advocate of home education, I have navigated the exhilarating, sometimes rocky, let's tell the truth, terrain of home education for many years. And this morning I would like to start by sharing a story of when I first embarked on this homeschooling journey, and it was back in 2011. Picture this. I was standing at the local school office holding my 5-year-old's hand. And I was trying to find out if there was a school in my area that would offer 5 hours a day instead of the regular 8, because that's what it is in Italy. It's full-time 8 hours of school every day, Monday through Friday. And the school secretary was a little bit puzzled, and she was looking at me, and she said, "You must be mad. You know, every parent can't wait to send their kids to school for as long as possible. What are you talking about? You'll never find it." And I was taken aback. And I was like, You know, I felt surprised and doubt. And I started questioning, what if I don't send him at all? Is that a possibility? Because I knew that I wanted to provide my child with a personalized and enriching education. And I wanted to make the most of our time together. I didn't want him away for 8 hours every single day. That moment of doubt turned into a defining decision, and one that didn't shape only my family's educational journey, but also my mission and my husband's mission and my children's mission to empower other families in this vision. So I believe that managing and home educating my 5 children has been an extensive masterclass in organizational management and leadership. So if any of you here are thinking about starting an organization and being leaders, well, remember that you are parents in a homeschooling-based family, and there's a lot of leadership going on in there. Each child with their unique needs and learning styles required a tailored approach, mirroring the diverse challenges of running an organization. The experience honed my ability to multitask, to prioritize, and to adapt swiftly. Capabilities that are essential in a dynamic environment, such as that of an organization. I'm going to grab the clicker. So, to thrive in home education, we need a framework. And there are 5 steps that I came up with, and it's vision, it's community, it's innovation, it's advocacy, and it's motivation. So let's delve into these pillars and show how they contribute to good leadership and to strong teams. What does it mean to lead with vision in home education? So we have set a clear vision, lead with purpose, innovate, and adapt. Leading with vision in home education starts with setting a clear vision. You need to define what you want to achieve and how you plan to achieve it. The vision will guide your decisions and actions, but remember, it will need to evolve. So nothing has to be static, just like our children are growing every day. And we are aging. So, be flexible. Just as a mother must adapt to the unique needs of each child, a leader in a national home education organization must remain adaptable. Both roles require the ability to adjust strategies in response to changing circumstances. Leading with purpose means inspiring and empowering also others to find their own paths, whether in family settings or global organizations. So embrace innovation to keep home education engaging and observe the dynamics around you to implement ideas effectively. How can we build strong communities? How does that support home educating families? Well, we need to remember that it's important to connect and share, to support each other, and to collaborate for success. Building strong, supportive communities is crucial for thriving in home education. When I started, I felt isolated. I was a pioneer in Italy. There was absolutely nothing out there. And so I started a blog. It was 2011. Everybody was doing blogs, right? And I shared my daily experiences. And to my surprise, other parents began finding my blog and commenting and sharing their journeys. And it was just like uncovering a network of kindled spirits. In 2012, my husband and I founded Edupar, which is the first Italian network solely dedicated to home education, creating a larger space for families to connect, share resources, and support each other. And the same year, we welcomed our fourth child. And I published the first Italian book on home education, which was like having another baby, basically. Leadership in home education involves inspiring and empowering others to find their paths, recognizing that there is no one-size-fits-all education or approach. This principle is also essential for organization. My book wasn't meant to be a set of rules, even though everybody wants the perfect recipe, right? That's what they are after. But it was rather a guide to help parents explore their methods and find their philosophies. While people often seek a definite recipe for success, true leadership helps others look within themselves to discover what works best for them in collaboration with others. And a leader must avoid imposing their personal version of success. As I began to speak more publicly, I encountered resistance. Many people wanted me to be quiet and not talk openly about the possibility to home educate in Italy. They warned me that we had to keep quiet and not rock the boat, fearing that would endanger our freedom. But I felt the opposite. I wanted to share the opportunities I was having with my kids. If I could do it, if I could live with them and enjoy everything, why couldn't everybody else know about it? Because I knew it was my mission to do so, and I couldn't stay silent when I saw the transformative power there was. Let's talk about innovation. What roles does innovation play in successful home education? First of all, we need to embrace new ideas. Then we have to provide diverse learning experiences while fostering creativity. Innovation keeps us growing. In 2015, after our fifth child was born, we became even more involved. In those years, we started organizing events in northern Italy, and not only, and we created School, which is the Italian National Home Education Yearly Meeting, the biggest one we have every year in September. You are all invited. Please come. It's in Umbria this year, and it attracts over 600 participants. This event has now reached its 11th edition and continues to grow each year. Many families wanted to home educate, but they didn't know where to start. They were eager, but they felt overwhelmed by the amount of information and lack of structured support. Leadership means guiding and empowering families to take control on their children's education with confidence, with clarity. So when the pandemic hit and the demand for support skyrocketed, we founded EduLearn, an online academic support site offering fun and engaging classes for children and helping parents with the bureaucracy. True leadership involves offering different options and trusting others. I'll say it again, trusting others to make the right decisions. A lot of homeschoolers think they are entitled because they do the best thing. This is not the case. We are all different. We have to remember it. We don't have to be judgmental. By providing the right support and fostering a non-judgmental environment, we empower families to navigate their paths confidently, knowing that they have the resources and trust they need to overcome any challenge. Now, how important is advocacy in our movement? Well, we need to advocate for our rights We need to be the voice or the dancers, like Paulo said. We need to sustain the movement. Advocacy is crucial for ensuring that home education remains a respected educational option. Over the years, I have dedicated myself to advocating for home education rights, engaging with policymakers, and working to create a supportive legal framework. I never imagined I would find myself in this role. Never. I was, and often still am, fearful and doubtful in these contexts. I have been so fortunate to speak twice with the current Italian home education minister, a testament to how far our movement has come since day one. These advocacy skills were not something I was born with, and they developed over time, driven by necessity mostly. You can't say no, can you, when they call you to speak? The conversations with the minister have been promising, with a growing recognition and approval on home education. My goal is to keep this dialogue open, ensuring that we continue to have a seat at the table and that our voices are heard. We have noticed that home education students and parents in Italy often feel unrecognized by the institutions. They kind of feel invisible and less worthy. And this sentiment is exacerbated by the biases that many schools hold against us. This is a true thing. So it's crucial that we address these issues and advocate for a more inclusive and supported educational system. Throughout these efforts, I have learned that leadership is not about having all the answers, having a plan at all times, no, but about willing to step forward and engage in the conversation. It's about listening, adapting, advocating to what we believe in, for what we believe in, even when the path is uncertain. So how can we sustain motivation? It's by staying connected, celebrating small victories, and building resilience. Maintaining motivation and passion in the face of challenges is essential for thriving as leaders. There have been times when I felt completely overwhelmed, but my commitment to my children and our community kept me going. Staying connected with like-minded individuals, it can even be virtual if you have nobody around you in your neighborhood or your country. That's virtual is so important that we keep up with things, because a significant milestone in our journey has been just 3 weeks ago, establishing a foundation that supports and protects home education and free play in Italy, and it's called Libera Scuola. This is probably the biggest victory we have been celebrating, another brick in the building the wall of support and advocacy for home education in Italy. Establishing this foundation required immense effort, dedication, and financial resources. But now we have an official channel, hooray, for engaging with politicians and, most importantly, the Ministry of Education, who was actually the one who inspired us to do so. So, standing before you today, I really am filled with hope and determination. You are also inspiring just by your presence. The leadership path we have chosen, or maybe that has chosen us, is challenging but profoundly rewarding. Together, we are pioneers, chartering new territories in education and leadership. Remember that every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow stronger and more resilient. In moments of doubt, let us lean on our community, drawing strength from our shared experiences and triumphs. Together, we are building a legacy of courage, creativity, and compassion that will inspire not only our children, but generations to come. As you leave this conference, remember that you are not alone. We are a global family, united by the transformative power of education. Let us lead with vision, and let us continue to advocate for our rights, innovate in our educational practices, and nurture the supportive communities that make this journey possible. Let us sustain our motivation and passion, knowing that the work we do today will have a lasting impact in the world. So let's make this vision a reality starting today, because homeschooling works. Thank you.
Thank you, Erika. Great points, and we definitely learned a lot. Building a cohesive and motivated team is essential for any organization. Robert?
Thank you. Is this on? Can you hear me? Grab the, good. I just want to make sure the recording gets it for you all. Well, first of all, I just said I love that video that Paulo shared. It's a video that we've shared with our leadership team in the past. It's been a few years since we've done that. but it is a great example of that process of developing leaders and being a leader yourself. And one of the other things that I love that Erika said is leadership is a lot like homeschooling. To be a strong leader and to lead a strong organization, you need to have a few rules and repeat them often. And same thing with raising a family. I have 3 young kids myself, 9, 7, and 4, and so we know all about about that, and excited to see where they're going. Today, I wanted to share with you all the kind of leadership framework that I've developed and learned about over the last 10 years that's helped grow classical conversations from about 48,000 students in 40 states to about 140,000 students in 60 countries around the world, and has helped me win 2 rugby national championships. I'll just mention that since we're here in the UK, and we know the UK people love rugby. And I think the first thing that it starts with is really this servant leadership mindset, and the fact that it's a biblical concept is that as a leader, it's not necessarily always command and conquer, but how are you developing those around you and making sure that your vision lasts a lot longer than you do, because our time here on earth is very short. I see this a lot with the American homeschool community, that we have not done a great job developing leaders, and as people retire, we're seeing some gaps in that next generation. And so it's very important that we develop those people that are under us. A fun little story I like to tell is, a CEO is talking to one of his managers and says, "We got to develop more people." And his managers was concerned. He's like, "Well, if we pour all these resources into developing these people, what happens if they leave?" And the CEO looked at his managers and said, "Well, what happens if we don't develop them and they stay?" And that would be much worse. So it is very important that you develop and work on a framework, because a lot of times you have this vision, which is very important, and you're working on it on yourself, and you're doing all the things, but how do you grow an organization? So hopefully we'll touch on some of those things. And getting that vision simple, as I was mentioned before, and is very important. And understanding where you're going. And so our mission at Classical Conversations is to know God and to make him known. And our niche in the market, how we plan on achieving that vision, is by cultivating classical leaders. And so we are all about leadership development. And of course, we have that through K through 12. We even have college courses. We do that for the young people, but really our focus is on developing adults, that we know that if we give parents those tools of learning, those tools of teaching, not only are we helping redeem that generation that they're educating themselves, but they're being redeemed themselves. And so what does that look like in our context? So what we have is we've got our mission statement and our vision, and what we try to do is hire around those ideas. And so a resource that I recommend everyone read is Who, the A Method for Hiring by Jeffrey Smart. And as whether you're hiring people or you're getting volunteers, it's really easy just to pick warm bodies. And of course, if you're just getting started, that might be that case. But as you're thinking about growing your organization, about influencing more people, you need to be able to really bring on the type of individuals that you need to move your organization forward. One of the things we say is, hire slowly and fire quickly, because if you hire or bring someone on that is not right for your organization, they estimate it costs 2 to 3 times their annual salary in lost productivity. And so same thing with volunteers. I mean, it's great. I know I work for nonprofits, and CC itself is a for-profit, so I've been in both worlds. Sometimes those volunteers cause more work than they do. So it's really important that as you bring people on, that they understand that end mission, that vision that you're trying to accomplish. And if you don't have that written down and clear and easy to understand, that's going to be much more difficult to do. The next thing you need to do is kind of have that leadership framework so that people are always staying on track. So it's really easy for us to get off track. And if you get off track just 1 or 2 degrees early on, you end up somewhere that you don't want to go. And so what we've done is we create a North Star or a 10-year vision where we say, okay, where do we want to be in 10 years? Some people call it a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, something that's beyond, hey, in America, we want to have, 10 million homeschoolers, or we want to have 1 million homeschoolers in classical conversations. And it's like, I have no idea how to get there. Like, it's just a crazy idea. That's why they call it a BHAG. But then you take a step back and say, okay, if we want to go here in 10 years, this is our North Star, where do we think we need to be in 3 years? What are the things that we feel like if we're going on this journey, where would we be in 3 years to feel like we're headed in that right direction? And so you have this North Star, and then you have something that's a little bit clearer, but still kind of, 3 years from now, what does our organization need to look like? What do our metrics need to look like? What skills do we need to have developed? What things do we need to have done? And then you come back and say, okay, well, what's our 1-year plan? And you do that, we do our 1-year planning in September, and we say by the end of the next calendar year, what does the organization of Classical Conversations need to look like? And we try to put, for the 3-year plan, we try to put together 3 to 7 bullet points of things we want to see different in Classical Conversations in 3 years than are today. And then for the 1-year plan, again, we try to get about 5 to 9 ideas of like, what does Classical Conversations need to look like a year from now, and what needs to be accomplished. And then we break it down into quarters. The human mind tends to wander every 90 days. We get off track. We don't, we get distracted by life. Things come up. And so we want to track on a 90-day schedule, so once a quarter, what we're doing and trying to accomplish. And so if we want to get something done, a year from now, well, what needs to be true 90 days from now? So I feel like we are on track to being where we want to be a year from now. And it's a lot easier to develop tactics over the next 90 days of things you want to accomplish and get done. And so what this framework does for you is, one, you've got a clear vision and you repeat it often. So we talk about it on a quarterly basis. This is our 10-year vision. These are our core values. These are the things we want to get done. We remind ourselves where the North Star is every quarter. And then our strategy is like, okay, where do we need to be in 3 years? Where do we need to be in 1 year? And again, we're reviewing that every quarter. Do we really believe, and it's the farther ones out, you can change more often, right? If things change in this quarter, we might change our 3-year vision because, we need to not do that, or, there's been some law changes or whatever's happening. And then those quarterly meetings, we're really saying, what are you going to do in the next 90 days to make sure that this is getting done? And I know different sized organizations might have difficulty, or like, oh, it's just me. Well, I'll just say that this framework works if it's a 1-person organization or a 1,000-person organization, because if you're planning on growing, you want to have those good habits already established. So as you're bringing people on, that you're able to just have these in place, because changing kind of your framework as you grow the business becomes a lot more difficult than getting it right to begin with. And then what we do, we have 1 meeting a week. Now, we do have other meetings than this, but we have 1 weekly meeting. It's 90 minutes with myself and my team. They do the same thing with their team, where we're saying, okay, these are the things that we agreed to do these 90 days. We start out by just doing a quick check-in. Then we look at our metrics. What are those things that we're measuring? What gets measured gets done. And you need to be able to hold yourself and others accountable to that. And if you are not measuring something, it's not going to get done. It's just a fact of life. Um, then we just basically say, okay, where everybody stands, do a quick check-in there, and then we have a running issues list. Every organization has issues, and there's only a finite amount of time that you're going to have, right? You have the keep the lights on work that you have to do every day just to make sure your organization's going, and then you've got fires that you have to put out, and then you've got kind of these, issues or opportunities that you want to go over. And so the last 45 minutes of this 90-minute meeting that we do each week is we have this running list. When we started, it was 70 or 80 things. And people would say, hey, we need to fix this. It's like, I agree, it's on our list, but every single week when we talk about those top things that need to be fixed, it's not getting there. And so it's a great way because there's always, what we do is we rate them. So we get these, it started at 70. Now typically we have about 10 to 15 issues on this list. We say, okay, let's rate these top 3 issues. And we try to solve them. How are we going to get these issues solved? We assign tasks to get those things solved. And that's about as much work as a human being can do in a 40-hour work week, which we try to keep to. So, that's the framework we use. And the other thing that I always want to tell people is, like, I used to always read as a leader these great books, and then I would try to implement them. And everyone just look at me cross-eyed because they hadn't read the same materials that we do. So we pick a book every single quarter as a leadership team to read together. We read it separately, but then we come together at the end of the quarter and spend an hour discussing it so that we are able to always stay on the same page. Now, I didn't make any of this stuff up myself. I'm not that smart. I just try to find smart people to be around. So these are a couple resources that I would recommend every organization use. The first one is called Traction by Gino Wickman. The second one is Who, the A Method for Hiring by Jeffrey Smart. Good to Great by Jim Collins. Mission Drift by Peter Greer. And then 2 Patrick Lencioni books, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team and 6 Working Geniuses. And if you use this framework and you have these quarterly discussions with your team, you can definitely develop the next level of leaders and make sure that your organization continues to move forward, in your absence, should you want to go on vacation or retire. So that is, I believe, my time.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. With excellent insights indeed. Please. Continuous improvement is the key to thriving in an organization. Now I'd like to open the floor to the questions. So if anyone has a question, please raise your hand. This is our mic guy. Okay.
Question to Erika. Is your book available, and is it available in English?
My book is not in English, unfortunately, but I do provide extensive information in English on my websites. So I have a flyer I can give you.
Okay. Any more questions? There.
Well, my name is Sylvia Copio. I will do a provocative question to my own husband. What I saw in the video was more manipulation. Why should all the people do the same? Why not some dance and others sing and others? So I'm being ironic. I know that you know that. But mostly, what is the main difference between influencing in a good way or manipulating a group to make them believe that they must do? Because my question is related to this concern in the world that it seems like governments wants to manipulate for us to do what we don't want to do. At the same time, as homeschoolers, we really need to influence in a different way. So what would you say that it is the main difference between influence or manipulate?
Thank you. the power of choice. For me, the difference is the power of choice. When you are influencing someone, you have the power of choice of choosing what you want to do. When you manipulate someone, you don't have the power of choice. You give the perception to the other that he chose, but he didn't choose anything. Okay. For me, this is the big difference. And when we talk about leaders, and I believe that a leader is someone that in a period of time it's not a leader, it's a follower, because it must be a follower too. He share a dream, and people believe in that dream, and after that, something will happen. It's what happens on the video. The video, he wants to do something. He do it for himself, and after that, for the others. And he doesn't decide and doesn't put people doing something that they don't want. Yeah, that's the difference.
Good.
I can add 2 words to this. In all this time, these almost 15 years that I've been in the homeschooling community in Italy and in Europe, I've noticed that sometimes, even maybe subconsciously, people want to be manipulated. And I know this is a strong thing to say, or at least they want to have a recipe, or at least they want to be directed. And it's hard to put your heart in it and stand out of the crowd. So what I've noticed is that there are other people perhaps that seem sometimes more ready to answer to some questions. They might have a path that is specific, and they say you should follow that path, and so they might seem more appealing to people who are looking for their ways, at first, at least. But what I've noticed, because I'm a patient person and I observe a lot, is that after some time, after some while, these people will understand that perhaps they have to look within themselves, and they don't have to look out at others, and they don't have to copy what is out there, but they have to seek their own calling. And so these people will come back. They will come back to you. They will come back to your organization, and they will say, I did this, I did that, this person said this organization said that, but then I finally understood that I have to listen to my own kids. I have to listen to my own heart. And they will come around. But as you said, it's true. It's the power of choice. And first of all, understanding that we want to have a choice. We don't want to do what we're told. And that's a step in consciousness.
Great. Do you want to add something, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, the manipulation and the choice, I think, is important. And yeah, are there artificial barriers put up? I mean, I know that, we have relative freedom in the United States, so we don't have as much manipulation, but, a lot of times they like to make it more difficult to give you everything. And that's why it's so important that we fight for freedom and liberty. I know the homeschoolers are kind of the tip of the spear on that, so that we need to be honest about the alternatives and, make that pain acute and real, what those other options are. But ultimately, a leader is going to be someone that has a vision that's unique from what those people are around, and willing to sacrifice for those results. And I think it was Lewis and Clark were trying to recruit for their trip, and they couldn't get anybody to go on this trip. And then they put a newspaper ad that said, join us on this trip. Basically, you'll probably die, but you'll have a lot of fun. And they got like hundreds of applicants to join them on their trip. And so they gave, basically a compelling vision for what they were trying to accomplish. And they were able to find the tribe of people that wanted to accomplish that same idea. So that's, I think, part of that difference.
Great. Okay. One more question?
Yeah, so I had a CPA friend once tell me that the number one reason for failure of a startup or a small business or organization was undercapitalization. Do you have any insights or experiences you might share about how to raise capital, fund your organizations, especially in the early days, to sustain it and get it going?
We are going to have a great workshop on funding organization later today, but if anyone want to answer that.
No, Rex, I see you every day, so I don't know. I mean, I think one of those things is, you want to create value for people that is worth more than they're giving to you. And so that's what I've always tried to do, especially with some of the nonprofits, is understanding, especially if you're looking for donors. One, again, having that vision, 10-year, having that stuff written down is going to be really important. The other thing is I've noticed a lot of people, just as someone who is a philanthropist, people come to you and you say, okay, yeah, I agree, we need to get this done, and you give them money, and you don't hear from them again until they want more money. And so if you are starting a new organization, developing those relationships, trying to add more value, so that I always want to make sure that they're wanting, when I do that ask, I already know that they're going to give me the money because I've had conversation, they've been updated, they're excited about what we're working on. And, if there's an opportunity for them to gain value from what I'm doing, that they're seeing that. So I think it goes back to that idea of servant leadership is always trying to give more than you're getting.
Great, thank you. So any more questions from the audience?
I love the idea that you put forward in the movie about the first follower. Are there thoughts that you have about training or developing first followers?
Thoughts about how to develop the first follower? I don't have thoughts about that, but the thing is, if you are genuine doing what you believe, it will appear. The other thing, the second aspect, is you have to accept the follower. And sometimes the leader doesn't accept the follower. He thinks that it's not the best one to be the first follower. So if that happens, you are finished at the beginning. So it's almost saying in another way, we were trained to be followers in certain aspects, not to be leaders. So it's easier to be a follower. And we were trained to think that a leader must be like a superhero. I think I said it well. And it's not true. A leader, it's a person with emotions that fail and must be accepted and must accept their failures. And when that happens, the followers will recognize him as a partner that can be can be used in a good way. Can be it's someone that it's equal for me to me. So if it's equal, why not being a follower of someone that I believe? Sylvia told me this thing this morning. For example, our player Ronaldo. In the Euro, he didn't get a penalty on a game. He cried after that. If in some years ago to see a leader crying, it was something that people will not accept that. Now they will accept that a leader can cry. So something changed. And after that, he was the first one to go how can we call it, to marcar, marcar.
America?
No, to opposing, no, not to opposing, but to let me think. To go to the penalty and to
Hit it.
shoot the penalty, the second penalty, and he was the first one, and he get it. So that's a kind of behavior that we accept as a leader. That someone that fails, but he tried, and the followers go see this and recognize this. I think it's something like this.
I might add one little bit because you made me reflect on this fact of how do you train them. And I think there's another similarity between, in the realm of home education, of raising a family, especially in home education, and leading an organization. So in a family, what do? We train by example, right? And so it's not so much of what you do to them, but what do you do with yourself? And I feel that it's the same in an organization. What I happened to do was just to do with myself, to develop myself in my character and in my business and in my family and as a mother, and then people will be attracted to that and they will learn for that. And it's by osmosis almost, and it's not so much about doing to others, like a training act, but it's more about working on yourself, and then things happen. You know, I feel there's always that connection between the two worlds, the private one and the public one, when we are leaders in home education. We have to really live it, and people will feel it, and it's very unique to us.
Yeah, I think, the first thing is always, are we attracting that first follower that we want to attract? So making sure that we have that clear vision, that we're presenting ourselves, because if we are there's sometimes people that see your vision but just are incompetent, right? They're not really going to be able to help you out. But developing that first follower, it's going to be very relationship heavy. And then if you are starting to delegate, we have what we call a delegate quadrant. Again, didn't make this up myself, but just what we like to do is write down, especially if you're new, what are you good? What are you good at? What do you like to do? What do you don't like to do? And what you're bad at. And by using this simple framework, obviously what you're good at and what you like to do, those are the things that you're going to be most effective at, right? There's things that you're good at that you don't like to do. Well, you're probably going to have to hang on to those early on. There's things that you're not good at, and then there's, that you don't like to do and not good at. Those are the things that you want to find someone that is good at it and they like to do it. So believe it or not, the stuff in that quadrant, your bottom right quadrant is going to be someone else's top left quadrant. And so as you're developing those people and trying to presumably, divide up the work using that type of framework and seeing, what is in your bottom right and their top left is a great place to see them. And of course, we all have blind spots. So there's things that we think we're good at that we're not good at, and there's things that we like to do that we're not good at. But that will give us a way of training. And again, always, if you're having these weekly meetings or monthly meetings, you've got your North Star that you're continually talking about and developing those relationships. That's a great way to make sure that first follower is then able to express that vision to the second and third followers.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Robert, for that advice and great insight. And Erika and Paulo, you handled the difficult one very well. Do we have another question? We have 1 more minute. Yeah.
Well, good. Do you have a pressing question? I'll let you have it. Okay. So Thoreau said the mass of men lead quiet lives of desperation, and I think he was wrong that the mass of men are led to quiet lives of desperation. And I just wanted to thank this panel because I believe that you are doing such great work that you're leading the mass of men to quiet inspiration. And I just really thought it was a great panel and a great balance. You all shared different things about leadership and organization. So thank you for leading this for us.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you once again to our panelists. Give them a round, please, a round of applause. And this concludes our session on Thrive, Not Just Thrive. Thank you all for being here and have a great day.